Peace and blessings. This is Jakim from the Hard Talk with Jakim show. Listen, I have to do the thing about the copyrights that we're using it for a fair use. So here it goes. United States Code Title 17, Copyright Chapter 1, Subject Matter of Scope of Copyright, Section 107. We're using it for fair use for criticism and commentary and also news reporting. So anything that we put on here, we're actually invoking the fair use of the United States Code. Peace and blessings. This is Jakim Muhammad from the Hard Talk with Jakim. Listen, not everybody can get on the Hard Talk with Jakim show. Listen, buffoons, sellouts, Negro manager, Negro puppets are forever banned. But you, my precious, you can get on. This is how you get on. You contact us at btom6164@gmail.com. That's bthomp6164@gmail.com. Make sure you have something to talk about that's about power economics and the collective uplift of black folks. Peace and blessings, y'all. All right. Peace and blessings, yo. This is the Hard Talk with Jakim. So the Hard Talk with Jakim show, yeah, I see you there. All right, so coming to you straight out of Wilmington, Delaware. Shout out to Parts Unknown and all over. We got a great show for y'all tonight. We've got a great show coming up. We got a great guest, but tonight, let's get to the good stuff that we have to put it out. I want you to share, like, follow, subscribe. First, go to Hard Talk with Jakim on Facebook. Second, go to The Real Jakim on Instagram and Twitter. And thirdly, go to Delaware Info Now on YouTube. You will see this show on Delaware Info Now on YouTube 24 hours after we air it. So we got a great show for you tonight. If you do not see that I got this lovely lady right in front of me, and everybody knows Jakim love the ladies. I love the ladies. I got a lovely lady for you. And listen, another definitely community activist and just all right, good person. Let me give it to you right now. I'm going to give a big shout out, a Hard Talk shout out to Sister Vanity Constance. Thank you. Well, we get some of the late people in, we get to all that other stuff, but we got a lot of stuff to go through. I'm going to ask you some fantastic questions. And remember, everything we air here is going to be aired 24 hours later on Delaware Info Now on YouTube. So we're definitely going to have it there. Now, we've got some questions. So if you can hear us, if you think I actually have the fan on today because my allergies was killing me today. I don't know why they were killing me. So if the volume is too low or too high, just tell me. The same thing, give me a like share on the like share button if you're on Facebook whenever you get on. All right. So Vanity, we have known each other for some time now. I met you when we were doing a Martin Luther King, I think it was the walk down 4th Street over in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yes,
that's when I actually met you. And it was some time ago, and you know that Martin Luther King always brings out the Martin Luther King Day holiday, always brings out all these politicians. But I had known of you from some people in Wilmington earlier. So I just want you to tell the audience, tell me all the great things that you're doing in Wilmington.
Okay, so when it comes to Wilmington, although I'm not from there, I do have a huge heart for Wilmington. I'm really passionate about strengthening strengths, any way that I can help myself. And the reason why I'm so honored to be in your show is because I want to use my influence to really tell people the great things that you have going on. So something in Wilmington that I'm really grateful for that I've got plugged into is knowing people. As you know, Delaware is 0 degrees of separation. So, although you have your ups and downs with folks, it's really good just to be involved and really know what people have going on, So I definitely find myself plugging people into resources. I also work with nonprofits doing contract work and small businesses. Well, I hate saying small businesses, with businesses. And I also provide business solutions as well. As you also know, I saw you at the Cannabis Reform meeting at the Route 9 Library. So I was grateful to see you there as well. And I know you're always a champion for the community. So I just really enjoy plugging myself in, celebrating other people when it comes to their success and the things they have going on. I love the art installations in Wilmington, Delaware. Shout out to everybody that's doing great things with the art and beautification in Wilmington. But those are the things I'm really passionate about right now. Yes.
Well, let me tell you something. You're passionate about a lot of things, the same thing as me. Listen,
Yes.
I don't actually smoke the weed, but I understand about the legalization and the criminalization since I have a background in law enforcement. But one of the things that I see that you do, and if you're ever on Instagram, y'all know you gotta go to Joy is Power.
Oh,
right?
yes, that's my page. Yes.
That's right. And I see that you have a book club as well.
Yes.
But before we talk about the book club,
okay,
I want to talk about a thing that you had just maybe a year or 2 years ago. I love the Taco Tuesdays.
Oh, you did? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Tacos and combos. It's really about getting to know people, because a lot of times we lose that human engagement aspect of really getting to know people without like that extra baggage of like it has to be something. So like tacos and combos brought everybody together, whether you're in a relationship, you're single, or a situationship. It also was a great time to highlight like different businesses that are located in Wilmington as well. So I love events. I love doing events.
Oh, well, the other passion that I have, and that's why we connect, because artists connect. I'm a musician and I'm also a DJ. Yes. So I love artists too. There's a lot of things that's going on in Wilmington, Delaware that we should get more of. Yes. And it seems as though that, let me just be honest, Black folk in Delaware don't seem to get more, should I say, exposure. Yes. And it's sad because actually we have a big population. Big shout out to Wilmington, Delaware. Let me just give a real shout out to all of my people down in Louisiana.
Yes.
Big following down in Louisiana. I'm checking my email. We do a lot of good stuff for Louisiana. Louisiana United International, big shout out to y'all down there. We got part of that hurricane. Nothing like what they got, but we got part of that up here. And I will say this. This is one of the bad things in some of our places, that our folks aren't demanding more when they have a voting power. If you don't already know, I was the 16th RD chairman for about 4 or 5 years here, Democratic 16th RD chairman, and I saw a lot of things in the politics side that was not benefiting Black communities to uplift Black community, especially when it came to art and business. What do you feel about that?
Well, it's like so much. Okay, so it's really layered. I'm going to say that. So I definitely, firsthand, I can definitely empathize with everything you just said. I feel as though Delaware is a very interesting place when it comes to supporting. Sometimes it can get very cliquish in Delaware, where that hinders real opportunity and real success, because all about favors. Well, that's my cousin. My cousin worked for this, or that's my friend for 16 years. Okay, but is the talent there? Are they consistent? Are the research, are things really following through? So I really feel as though, Delaware, although progress is progress, so I see momentum. So I'm not going to shade anything. I see momentum. So I'm grateful for that. But it could be really heavy for people that are the real movers and shakers, because they're carrying everything for everybody else,
That is correct.
And people don't understand their power, like what you said. Go to your civic association meetings, connect with people like yourself that are plugged in and that know what to do, or know different people to get things done. Just don't feel defeated. You have so much power. So I don't think they remember that. They have power.
You're absolutely right, Vanity. And one of the things that I've always said is that we give our power away. So many of us in the Black community and any community, I'm not just only going to speak on the Black community on this thing, but I'm all B1. I'm always Black first. So, but we will say that we give away our power to people that we think are our allies, and instead of just doing for ourselves. Look, none of us need to ever say, this is what Black folk need to do. We beyond that. I need you to grab a couple of people and go get that shit done.
Oh,
I don't know one more of that. What we need to do. If an
yes.
older person or a young person come to you and say, you know, we need to unify, you know what you say? Stop that.
Okay.
Well, I know that. There ain't no more of that. We ain't got. Grab some people, get it done.
Yes,
Power
I agree. I like
economics
that.
is important. It's important for all of us. We can't make a better Delaware if we're not going to make sure that we have power economics. Political is one thing. I listen. I know the political game, and one of the political games is that they want you to go through the system because they know the system's going to stop you. The other ways to go through. You know, we can change policies and we can change concepts.
Yes.
If we're not only through the system, but also every game I know, especially since I play basketball, is you have to have an inside game and an outside game.
Drop the mic. You just dropped the mic right there.
That's important. You got to have an inside game and out. So when people say y'all shouldn't be marching so much, you shouldn't be having rallies so much, you shouldn't be crying about economic justice. Well, it's been unjust for so long. And cannabis is one of those things that I'm going to pay very close attention to who gets dispensaries, where they put the dispensaries. What do you say about that? Should we?
We have to. We have to. And that's why listen, the best organization for me and why I was a part of the Delaware Coalition of Cannabis, you know, when I was part of that, DCAN, you know, it's amazing. Zoe Petchel, she's the director of DCAN.
Good person.
Yes. And she does an incredible job with getting all the facts, the statistics, and the research. And she always ensures that the Black and brown community always has a seat at the table. That's one thing I can say. Like, Zoe gets it done. So I would say we need more Black and brown people involved with that coalition, because that also is like, and it's just like having a seat at the table is one thing, but no, being engaged. Like, okay, you can sit down, but are you engaging? Are you actually plugging your resources, or how you can actually, you know, like when I joined, right? I was just so interested. I was so grateful that there was a platform where I could express myself, not just being like, oh, she's just a pothead. No, I actually have a number of reasons why I'm passionate about cannabis reform, especially in Delaware. And so like being organized is so important. And I feel like we really lost that component in the Black and brown community in a way. We're being organized, you know, all this complaining, but it's just like problem solution. Like how you mentioned, you know, like gathering people and actually getting things going, you know? So I just think it's just all about, we have to stay really, really focused on where that money is going for the cannabis, you know, but there was a policy thing that had came out called HB 150. And in that resolution, it really talked about how different groups of people would have first priority, like with that application. And it also went over how it will be first for people, for the Black and brown community, and also women, you know? So in the application, would it be discounted for people that are actually from Delaware? So that resolution was very lengthy, and it's like a lot of different things, but it was so important because those little things in the resolutions really do matter. So it's really just about just staying active and engaged, you know?
Well, you know, in our communities, we have a multitude of things that are going on that we have to address. And cannabis is one of them. Legalization is one of them. The other thing that was very important for me is, you know, when you're doing the politics, when you're trying to get state representatives or councilmen or involved, a lot of times it's not coming back to you as a community. I have failed, and I tell you, I've been in a lot of photo ops when I first started, and I stopped doing photo ops. I'm not impressed by celebrities. I'm not impressed by politicians. But I will tell you two things. If they are not for you, you can't always be putting yourself for them. I'm tired of the Black community putting ourselves out for people who, and this particular legislative season in Delaware, it seems as though we've got really nothing done. Big shout out hold on, I gotta say this. I told him I would say this. Big shout out to Representative Eric Morrison. Big shout out to Eric because Eric keeps it real. And I love how Eric keeps it real. But this is one of my, I get disappointed if you think that it's the political end is going to be the means to end. I have a picture on my website of people voting at DLOR at 5 o'clock in the morning on the line in 2020, voting for mostly Democrats, voting for Biden. And, we're in Delaware, so we're in Biden country. And when I see that, I just say, when are we going to get ours for the community? I'm not even going to say the culture, for the community. But I'm going to leave that right there because next week, y'all, Jakim Muhammad has the political roundup. I'm actually going to, because, we're going into political season. 2022 is right here. Excuse me, people are automatically going to start asking for stuff. We're going to start with Delaware, and then we're going to go around the country of some great candidates, and we're going to talk about the minstrel show and the Uncle Remuses that are the sellouts that you should not vote for. But that's going to be next week. What I have for you right now, I told these gentlemen that I would play it. I'm going to play this commercial, and we will be right back with Sister Vanity Constance. Y'all stay tuned, y'all. You okay? Y'all stay tuned.
Look closely. Does anything jump out? We've been fighting for years in the streets, in our communities, to put black people on Delaware's courts. But the Chancery Court is still all white. When I talked to President Biden, he told me he would put court diversity front and center on the national stage, and he has. But in Biden's home state of Delaware, leaders talk about diversity while nothing actually changes. I've offered to meet with the governor and state leaders over and over with no success. Even the state's Judicial Diversity Task Force refuses to meet with me because in Delaware, who you know still matters more than what you bring to the table. So I'm bringing my message to you, the people. No more talking. We need action. We need diverse courts now. Paid for by Citizens for Pro-Business Delaware.
All right. In full disclosure, I have nothing to do with paid for by Citizens for Diverse Courts in Delaware. But I will say this. They're absolutely right. In Delaware, it's more important on who you know than what you bring to the table. That's what we were talking about earlier. And that's a problem. Whether you like Reverend Al or not doesn't really matter to me. What I am about is truth, and what I've seen Vanity was about is truth. Now, I got to talk to you. I always start off light and I get hard. Okay. Today, we started off hard and we were light. So now we're going to go a little lighter.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to ask you about some art stuff. Okay. Now, how do you like the art scene? Is it growing here in Delaware or what?
Yes, it is growing. It's definitely growing. It's definitely growing. I would actually love to see more artists that are in our communities and in all the districts come forward with more projects and art installations in their own community. And that's why I started my organization called Local Street Art Group, and it focuses on hiring local artists to beautify their community with the arts and in schools. Yet, I really wish independently more artists would come forward, more creatives would come forward and have these simple proposals, because your city council people, the Newcastle County council people, they have budgets. They have money, and I'm not talking about a buku amount of money, but it's the small things that make a difference in your community. It's the little things that matter. So whether you're adopting an area that's vacant, that doesn't look very attractive, or whether, it's a blight, it's a bunch of blight. They love using that word.
Oh, blight, yeah, they love.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just all about just beautifying like where we lay our heads at, especially in our Black and brown communities. It's a choice. It's a choice for things to look a certain way, and we as citizens, we as the Black and brown community, have to take accountability and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do something, even if it's like 2 hours every Saturday or when you can. It's just like I really wish more people would be more engaged. The more pressure you put and demand that you want to see art that represents your community, that's when real change is going to happen. Nobody's pressuring these people.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right. And I agree with you 100%. As far as art is concerned, in fact, in the 16th RD, I'm in Wilmington outside in the beautiful estate of Dunleavy. And one of the things that I get so tired of, and as an athlete, and I still throw around, I still play ball, I still throw the football around. As an athlete, I get tired of basketball camps. I don't want to see I want to see another building of businesses, building of ownership. And I want to see artists own their content. This is important to us because what's happened is artists has been we've been shortchanged for many years. In America and around the world, we've been shortchanged. And I need more artists to understand the business of art, the business of entertainment, and understand that that content is what they want. We even see it on the thing. Now, you know, I've had the show on Channel 28. We was on 190 Comcast, been on television buku times. I'm not impressed by television either. I actually think that social media is going to be the way to go because you're going to be able to affect more people. But I do want artists to take more heed of control of their content. That's why I was very happy that TikTok, black artists on TikTok, especially dancers, had that little strike and still doing. And I don't mean to say little by belittling it. I'm saying having a strike, saying they're not getting the full representation. All of us that's on social media knows that social media is biased as well. TikTok is biased, Facebook is biased, whatever. They have algorithms that limit who you can get to.
Yep.
And you know that if you put certain hashtags, you put certain hashtags up, they don't get as much as other hashtags. But we got to understand we can't complain about it. We need to create our own. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. We really have to flow with the current times, and things are changing. A lot of the stations and everything like to monitor, like to decrease what you're going to say. They like to, you would have to report like, oh, here's my itemized list of what I have to say or what I can't say because like so-and-so is associated with things, you know? So I feel like you having your own platform and that independence is really important. And also, I also empathize with what you said. It's so true about artists owning their content. Like at this moment in time, like people need to know, like we have, especially in the Black and brown community, knowing the process and procedures, you know, and I don't know everything. Like I've made my mistakes, but I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from actually doing, I had to do in order to know that that was a mistake, you know? So I feel like a lot of people have to take that risk. Stop being nervous or like take a risk. It's just like start that. Ask all the questions. There is no dumb questions. If you don't know something, you don't know something. Google it. Find somebody that does know. So I really empathize with that. And people have to care about their content being taken. Don't just give up.
That's right.
Don't just give up.
And on top of it, you're right about that. Don't just give up. On top of that, you have to always understand that somebody will always benefit from your hard work. So what you got to do is make sure that you benefit from your hard work. And we got to know how to wiggle our way around things. It's the same thing that our ancestors had to do, but we need to do it. I tell people of my age, I'm a little older than you, of my age, I tell people you don't need to be less in social media. You need to do social media with intention. You need to do it with an idea of you're reaching. Because let's be honest, most people will never meet even 500 people personally. Now, if you've got a social media platform and you got legitimate, we ain't talking about the fake accounts. We're talking about legitimate. You got 20,000. You're reaching people that you would never reach in your day-to-day life. So we need to use social media with intention. And this is the great thing about COVID. COVID had a bunch of bad things about COVID. I've lost 3 family members to COVID. But the one thing COVID did do, Black social media rose through COVID. Yes. We shine. I mean, we actually excelled through 2020. The analytics are there. I've seen the analytics. We actually rose. So it's not surprising to me that they would put gatekeepers and gate stoppers to stuff. But we got to be able to pivot. Am I right?
Yes. You're right. You're right.
You got to be able to pivot. You know, when we get to doing something, we be on fire. And I don't want to use the word lit because that's so old. It was old when it was out the first time. But we be on fire. We kill it when it comes to things. And we, in 2020, Black social media or Black Twitter, whatever you ever want to call it, they killed it. In fact, I had a guy, no lie. He asked me, what address do you go for Black Twitter? And I said, well, Black is just basically social media. But don't understand. But I understand. He wanted, and of course, they're watching us.
Yes.
The big boys are always watching what you are doing. And I see all the great, lovely pictures you put out. You have a lot of great selfies where you're showing your style. And I like your style because, listen, whether you agree with the Kevin Samuels of the world, or whether you agree with the Moniques about the bonnets in their head, some of us need to tighten up their style. I'm not a big thing of putting this or that, but again, the bonnets and the slippers and the pajamas to the Walmarts and all that, you actually, I think, don't get me wrong, I'm about the inside.
Yeah.
But sometimes the outside can affect the inside because if it was only the inside, everybody would be fine. Everybody would be, if it's always just the inside. But I'm not the Kevin Samuels of it because whether you believe he's bashing Black women or not bashing Black women, I will say this: everybody needs to tighten up.
I agree. I'm here.
And I see you're tight all the time. Look at you right now. You're tight right now, and I love that. Be tight and ready. And I wish. Don't get me wrong. And I tell this to the young people I see in Southbridge all the time. I'm out there all the time. I'm over here on the Newcastle Avenue, Route 9. And I tell them, let me give you 20 things that will not stop you from getting a butt whooping from the popo who's a racist. Having a suit on ain't going to stop you. Me having a veteran's hat ain't going to stop you. I'm a veteran as well. But there is something on keeping your stuff tight. What do you say about that?
I agree with you. I agree with you. Your presence, how your presence is really important. It's only because, believe it or not, every time we meet people, as we know, it's scientific as well, that we make first impressions subconsciously, subconsciously. And it's one of those things where like one of the things I really have ingrained with myself is always being prepared. I really enjoy being prepared because then I'm not worried about like, oh my goodness, I may be on camera. Oh my goodness, I don't know who I'm going to network with that day. I don't know. I could run into my husband in the library.
Well, listen, your parents taught you that. That's exactly what parents used to teach you.
Yes, and I'm from Houston, Texas. So my mom was dressed every day. I don't care if she was just in the house. My mom's hair was laid, makeup done, because she had a husband. She said, listen, I'm going to keep my husband. I was like, okay, girl. So my mom really inspired me because she was always dressed up. I don't care where she was going. She was always laid. So it's one of those things where that inspired me to also be an example to young ladies because I enjoy being in the schools and I get a lot of different questions because although my style is different, I'm also professional, although I do show my tattoos sometimes, I also show the students that you can be professional, you have your own style and still be covered up. It's okay to be curvy and just flattering, like be flattering, so I agree with you.
Listen, I agree with you. And, I'm not going to use any of the Kevin Samuels high value men and high value women, but I will tell you this. The two people you're looking on right now are top tier. So
okay. Go ahead. Yes.
So listen, we actually, I'm going to go to another quick commercial real quick.
Okay.
Quick thing about Mike Tyson, and then I'm going to come back. We're going to talk more about social media and the impact. So we'll be right back with Sister Vanity Constance.
Yay.
Peace and blessings. This is Jakim from the Hard Talk with Jakim. Yeah, you see those milk crates up there. We've got to do better than that, y'all. Come on, black folks. We cannot be falling for every simple trick that they do to us. Do not do this milk crate challenge. That's silliness, and this is going to be my PSA. Besides, they got no room in the ICU for it. Peace.
The Zulu girl woke up with violence today. I'm choosing violence, and I'm about to piss somebody off. Today I'm talking to all those Africans that have left the continent and are now living abroad.
I needed to watch that.
Those Africans that love to strip away the African identity of other groups in the diaspora, telling African Americans they're not African, telling Caribbean people they're not African, telling Afro-Latinas they're not African. That sense of elitism, that sense of making yourself feel superior, that sense of stripping away identity. You learned all of those things from your colonizer, and now you are projecting it onto them. You have forgotten what our mothers taught us back home about loving those with the same pigment as us, treating them as family. You've let the colonizer penetrate your brain so much that you're starting to sound exactly like them. Humble yourself before you question the identity of the sons and daughters of the soil. Question yourself first.
Yes, as I always say that you got to quit. We throw some powerful stuff there. Yeah, I had to do that PSA for the milk crate challenge. I think it's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen before. And I'm sure I wouldn't see you on no doggone milk crates. No,
No.
You know, one of the things that's going on that a lot of people who are older than 30 love to bash the social media. We talked about this earlier in the first segment about being more in social media with intention, doing it with intention. Yes. The other thing that they would like to say is that people that come from the social media realm aren't as professional as those that, i.e., came from the traditional television. I will want you to say this. I want anybody who's watching this, that is so false. By doing stuff in social media, 100 videos, 200 selfies, guess what? You just became a great photographer. Guess what? You just became a great TV host. Guess what? It's in this realm, in social media realm, quantity can make quality. The more you do it, the better you are. Yeah. So actually now you have so many professionals. And what we have was, and I'm going to talk about sports. We're going to go a little light. Okay. Mike Tyson just said something crazy that some people think was crazy, but it wasn't crazy. He was talking about a TikToker and a YouTuber named Jake Paul, who just won against Tyron Woodley. He had a thing against Mayweather, and he's a boxer. But they know him as a YouTuber, as a TikToker. And Mike Tyson said, listen, he says, this is the change in the guards. The new boxers can't come from YouTube. The new boxers can't come from TikTok. They can't come from. So he has now invested a whole bunch of money to bring that. So this is what's happening. If you don't embrace this technology, you're going to be left behind. Mm-hmm. And I want all of our folks, all of our communities to not be left behind. Embrace the technology. Know that there's gobs of money to be made on it. What do you say about that?
I agree with you. Everything you're saying, I love this. The hard talk. This is it. So no, I really agree with you. Like, everybody is learning so many new skill sets. Everybody is really sharpening. And the more, just like you said, the more you actually do it, the more you put yourself out there and look at how, okay, if you like that page, be inspired. Like, now you're inspired by different pages and how you want your brand to look. So, and your brand can evolve. If you don't like something, if you want to change it, it's okay to change it. So I feel like people have to just take that first step and remember that progress is progress every step of the way. So I agree with you. Yes.
Right. Listen, you being the first, and you're right. Progression should be what you striving for, not perfection. Progression. And if you're striving for progression, you're going to get it. And like just like this guy, Jake Paul. I mean, let's be honest. I saw Jake Paul, and I was going to buy the Tyron Woodley, and Tyron comes from MMA. I used to train for MMA as well as boxing.
Wow.
And in fact, we do the fitness thing. That boom, boom, boom. But Jake Paul was holding his own. And I've heard people who were in the boxing realm say, oh my God, I'm glad Mike Tyson came and said, you know what? Y'all got to get over it. This is the way it's coming.
Yep.
This is there was a time when you have so many gatekeepers that kept you out of broadcasting, that kept you out of school if you didn't know this one and that. Now what we're seeing is because of social media and because of the realm of social media, we're seeing that a lot of opportunities for other people who would not have had those if they didn't know this person or that person.
I agree with you. I yes, that is so true. I agree. Yes.
I know with your page, I saw it. I think, how many Instagram pages do you have?
Okay, so book club. So right now I have my 3, and then I also manage them for some clients as well. But my 3 main ones are Joyous Power, Growing Mind Society, and Local Street Art Group.
That's great. That's fantastic. And I have 2. So of course, if you want to contact us, we're at The Real Jakim, whether Twitter or Instagram, or if you want to contact the DJ and the musician part of me, go to Kamaj Entertainment on Instagram. You could go to there as well and stuff. But you're absolutely right. And this is the way that our communities are going to be able to communicate with. Because look, I'll be the first one to tell y'all, and this is going to be a soundbite. I'm probably going to have it on Instagram in a couple of days. Right now, social media is the wild, wild west. But it's not going to stay like that for long. Governments are going to regulate the social media realm. So if you're not in social media now, I tell you right now, get on it. All those people who were scared to get on TikTok because Trump scared you about the Chinese, let me tell you something. The government has more stuff on you than TikTok does.
Oh, yep.
God, let's be honest. Governments around the world have more stuff on you. So if you're worried about that, you better get on it now, because sooner or later they will regulate this social media sphere. And I tell people that all the time.
Yes, they will.
You know, the one thing about social media and activism, because, you know, I follow a lot of different activists out there, whether it be from Reverend Al Sharpton or Tamika Mallory or even Sean King. I follow a lot of different ones.
Okay.
Not so much the Black News Channel, because I got to be honest with you, I can't stand half the things there. But I will say this. In social media and in the sphere of television and social media, I have found that so many of the people that are doing it have been doing it pretty well. When I first got on YouTube, I think I was on YouTube in 2008. YouTube was still not part of Google. It was still its own company.
Yes.
And I was telling somebody then that, I needed to fix a toilet. And I've learned how to fix that toilet from YouTube.
That's so true.
I had to go through all of the ones that were garbage. I went through 10 of, and then once I found 5 of them that was basically saying the same thing, that was the way that I fixed the toilet. So, you know, social media isn't all bad. It isn't all racist and knuckleheads, but don't get me wrong. YouTube and Twitter could be really bad.
Yes, I agree.
The racism, the sexism, and every other isms can be really bad, but you have to know how to maneuver it.
That's so true. That is so true.
Well, I know I always ask my guests where they see things in the next 5 years or 10 years down the line. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think you're going to be doing in 10 years? Other than blowing up.
Okay. So in 10 years, I'll be 38 in 10 years. Wow. Okay. I definitely see myself having a family, having children, having a husband, all those great things. Being a homeowner. I'm really in my 30s. I'm focusing on real estate. I want to, my focus with real estate is providing affordable opportunities for entrepreneurs to have their own storefronts. And also with the art and the murals. So my main thing in my 30s, and shout out to Jumpstart Wilmington, because I actually did that, and I was part of the second cohort, a part of Jumpstart Wilmington earlier in 2021. So that was part of and I'm like, that was one of my goals, and I'm really grateful that I was able to be accepted in that program, and it really inspired me. And now I have a team of people that are really advocating for me. So when I do turn 30, I'm going hard in the paint, because real estate is where it's at. Like whether it's Airbnb, arbitrage, whether it's investing, it's so many different things when it comes to real estate. So I definitely see myself expanding on the things that I'm already doing. I see the book club more flourishing in different places around the world. I see myself having, I would love to have a co-working space, and like for the Black and brown community, like more pop-ups of co-working spaces and creative spaces. So it's a lot of things, but primarily I want to focus on real estate in my 30s. So yeah.
Well, I listen, I commend you on it as a person. I always say I'm a son of Power Economics by Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm a son of that because I believe, and he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of great leaders that talked about ownership being the way for us to equalize a lot of things in our community, even though they make it hard for us. Because I just got the report today that Cadence Bank down in Houston has to pay almost $8.9 million because they have to settle a class action suit for redlining, for terrible practices of redlining and limiting loan opportunities to Black and brown communities. So it just came out today, Cadence Bank. So the United States Justice Department are finding them, and they're admitting that. But we all know that ownership has always been the way to wealth, to growth of wealth in the United States and around the world. That's the reason why I really believe that ownership is. The other thing that I wanted, and I like that you said that, in 10 years that's going there. The other thing I would like to say is that if you're an entrepreneur or you're an owner right now, and you think that you have a brick and mortar store, that the only thing you need to do is hit it with social media, hit it off of some ads, and that's it, and that's your marketing plan, you're mistaken.
Yes.
One of the things that I have found, even in campaigns and politics, if you're not going door to door or doing pop-ups, like you said, where they don't expect you to be.
Exactly. Yep.
To reach audiences that you are not reaching now, you have to be more creative than that. I see so many Black businesses think, especially if they have a brick and mortar store, that's it. They want to stay there and don't try to expand in this world. You got to go where the people are at.
Yes.
And if you don't go where the people are at, and you every week you're trying to make payroll, and you're finding that you're dipping into your money to make payroll, to pay the people who've spent their time to help you build your thing, it's because your marketing plan sucks.
I agree.
Advertising in our field. Now, I do want to, advertising is so important. I do think marketing plans and advertising is so important.
Yes.
Now, I do have a book.
Yay!
I have a book that I want to tell you that I've been reading for a long time.
Okay.
It's Sister Lynn Highland out of here, Delaware. She
nice.
also has a chapter. She's an educator. And she'll probably be watching this because she always does. The Evolution of an Educator. It's a fantastic book. If you don't know it, you can always check it out. There we go. Vicky Kirk May and friends. So Sister Highland is back there. She's one of the people there.
Yeah.
Excellent, great book. Educator right here in Delaware is also one of the people there. It's one of my great books. Another great book that I've always read. If you do not know this book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, You got to get The Greatest Salesman in the World. And last but not least, I'm going to give you a book, Greatest Salesman in the World, and of course, the Teachings of Sun Tzu.
Yes.
Yes, the Chinese general technician. You got to check it out.
I love that. Yes.
These books are some of the books that, believe me, I have a nice library, but these are some of the books to get you started on your entrepreneurial things. The first book, of course, is going to teach you about the ups and downs of being a teacher. Let me tell you something. A lot of parents should appreciate teachers. Since last year, them kids were stuck with them parents, and the parents figured out that the kids are smarter than them, but the kids don't know what they're doing.
It's true.
We should have I say when we came out of 2021, we should have a great appreciation for teachers. Yes. There should not be a teacher not making less than $100,000 in anywhere in America. But we know that that's not the case. But I do have a great appreciation for them. I know that.
Me too.
I will tell you the other thing that I have that part of our discussion. One of the other things that I've seen happen in the mixing of Black and brown communities. Well, in this lawsuit that was with Cadence Bank, that's out of Atlanta, that they did in the Houston area, it was the Black and brown communities that were being redlined. There was the Black and brown communities that were being done. So it wasn't only just the Blacks. We all know that they do it Black first, but it was the Black and brown communities that was being redlined. Redlining, predatory practices with banking and financial institutions is real. It happens every day. It's one of our things that we should be talking about, that should be on the news almost every single day, but doesn't get played. But I do have something here for you. And now, right after this break, I want to talk about school boards.
Oh, yes.
We go, because you know, school boards are now the new WWE. It's the new wrestling place. It is now the new boxing camp. It is now the new entertainment. If you want entertainment, go to your local school board meeting now. Check this out.
Justin Canoe, I'm a dad in Williamson County. Didn't plan on speaking, but here we go. First of all, critical race theory is not in our schools, and it never was. And the people here to complain about it did not know what it was 6 months ago and had never heard of it. That's why they're going after diversity, equity, and inclusion instead, and trying to pretend they're the same thing. They aren't. And frankly, there aren't many communities around the globe that need DEI more than this one that we live in. On another note, I'm a dad of a new kindergartner, and her first day was right after the chaos last week. She went to school and was one of just a few kids in her class wearing a mask, which made her ask me why she had to. My answer was because we want to take care of other people. She's 5 years old, but she understood that concept. And it's disappointing that more adults around here can't seem to grasp it. I asked a pastor friend of mine, and he was very clear there's no actual biblical justification for using the Bible to get out of a mask mandate passed by a majority of this elected board. But thousands are doing it anyway, calling it a religious exemption, which is frankly just sad. Avoiding masks is not in the Bible, but taking care of others is. And now today we have Governor Lee's executive order to allow opt-outs, which is government overreach undercutting a local decision. If you only like democracy when it goes your way, you don't actually like democracy. Thank you.
All right. Are we back, Ken? Vanity? Okay. Well, again, this is one of the things that they always say, and we've always said it on the show with the hard talk. If you only like democracy when it goes your way, then you don't really like democracy. If you only like things when it's on your side, then you don't really like choice, freedom, and all the other great stuff that goes along with it. So, let you play one more? We get right before we get Ken. Vanity right back. All right. And
because when I get on a plane, I don't expect the airline to tell me they have a few bad apples on the flight crew. Or when I go to the emergency room, I don't expect the doctors to tell me there's a few bad apples working in the emergency room that day. And so the citizens of Pennsylvania do not expect from their law enforcement to have a few bad apples serving their communities.
All right. All right. So she's back. Oh, great. Fantastic. So you're originally from Houston.
Yes.
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh,
Forget about it.
nice.
So one of the things I found in Houston, and so that's the reason why Cadence Bank is very, you know, the bank in Houston. Do you know that Cadence Bank?
So I'm not too familiar. So if you could educate me on it, I'm definitely.
Well, no, they've got a lot of branches, not only in Houston, but they got a lot of branches, mostly Southwest and Southeast in the area. Like I said, they're Atlanta Bank, and that's another town. In fact, my son lives in Atlanta. And big shout out to Georgia. Big shout out to y'all. I know you're watching, but the big shout out. The one thing I've always said, even in Atlanta, when I went to mostly Black-owned stores,
yes,
that I have had a problem. And you know, I'm big for Black folks to get their stuff together. Believe me. But I've had a problem with service. And when I tell people this, that they have to, the one thing you can actually bust and be big on and be better than the bigger chains is to make sure you have exemplary service. If you have that, people, your food don't even have to be that much better. But if they get that good feeling, that good vibe from you. So I think a lot of Black businesses got to understand and really put into it, service should be more of your thing.
Yes.
What do you think?
Listen, I definitely agree with you. Above all, your attitude in life matters. You know, other people, it's going to sound really like kind of harsh, a little hard talk, right? But
right, we all the hard talk.
We on the hard talk. So people, when you're in a service
industry.
Yeah, industry and position, right? It's one of those things where no one cares what you're going through. It's one of those things where it's about the service that you're providing and people want problem solution, you know? So, and what people say, I love Robert Greene as well in the 48 Laws of Power.
Oh yeah, Robert Greene. 48 Laws of Power.
Yes. And one of the laws I really like is protect your reputation, you know? So a part of that, like people having these nasty attitudes, it's not helping people spread more awareness and more great things about your business. So people can't be upset when people are saying different things in reviews. I really feel as though people aren't taking enough time to vet out their employees. And even if more employee training, more things for them, pour into your employees, pour into really getting to know people's strengths. Maybe they're not supposed to be on the front line. Maybe maybe they're not really that good at being social, but they have other skill sets that are great. So I don't feel like people are taking enough time to know their employees.
And you know, you say something that is, and you just sparked something in my head. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. And that's one of the things that I would tell most Black businesses, Black-owned businesses, really get into having that great service, because that's going to put you above. You can't compete with them on price. You can't. And let me tell you something. You as an owner, you know this. People come to you and they ask you about hiring your service, and they ask you about this, and they come up with these great schemes, and the conversation goes dead after you tell them your price.
Yes.
The conversation goes quiet. I mean, they go radio silent.
Yes.
Price. But they don't understand you're paying for the 10, 15, 20 years. You're not just paying for this 4 hours or 5 hours of this. You're paying for the real work that went in. That's why we're going to make your experience an experience and not just an event.
Yes.
But on the same token, I always say this. It's your attitude.
Yes, I agree.
That is going to have repeat customers.
Yes.
If you come off professional, and I always say this, if you may not be the most pleasant person in the world. You don't have to be. But if you come off professional And like you said, I call it front loading. If you front load and make sure that everything is right from the jump street on the day of that event, that is going to be an experience for them.
Yes, I agree.
I found too many of our brothers and sisters have been lacking on front loading, lacking on paperwork. That's another thing. You can't really get stuff from the county or from government if you don't really have a business, an LLC or a business that's actually registered.
That's true. That's true.
So we know we have to get those things. We have to if you go back to even the book I was saying earlier, The Greatest Salesman in the World, basically it's telling you take care of your paperwork. If you take care of your paperwork, you take care of that. Second, take care of your customers. Without the customers, you have no business. That is point blank.
That is so true.
If you ain't got no cash and no customers, there is no business.
That's true.
And so, again, we get ready to wrap it up. We could go on and on for days.
I know.
But I want you to tell the folks all the other stuff that we didn't go over that you have written down, and tell them where they can find all that great information.
Okay, so real simple, like we mentioned, let's engage and network on social media. If you guys need to reach me directly, my email address is info@vanitycreates.com. Also, for the book club, Growing Mind Society, it's the best book club ever. I would love to have you as a feature on there too.
Sure.
Brother Jakim, yes. So it's called Growing Mind Society, and the website is growingmindsociety.net. And also for anything creative, if you want to get plugged in, if you want to partner with something in the community when it comes to the arts, the website for that in my organization is called Local Street Art Group, and the website is localstreetartgroup.com. Okay?
Well, that is fantastic. Now, I know a lot of you are doing some copywriting. Are you copywriting a lot of your content, or are you trademarking anything, or is stuff with your businesses as well?
So that's something that I'm actually working on, because I can admit that's something that I didn't prioritize yet. I know better, especially I know better. I'm the main one telling people you better go to that SBA workshop. You better do that. You better go. And I'm like, wait, am I doing it? Am I going by Stand By Me? Do I have a financial coach? So that is one of the things. That is one of the things that I am prioritizing at the moment, because it really is important. All the creativity that people are having, protect that. And people need to stop telling people all their ideas too. Protect that. Foster that. It doesn't make no sense announcing all your stuff on social media. It's okay to move in silence.
But, you're right about that. And you're absolutely right. If you're not going to protect your work, don't announce it. If you're not going to do the stuff, don't announce it. Now, once it's protected, I have no problem with you announcing it.
Oh, yes.
I have so many copyrights of music because, being with bands and being with stuff in New York City, I wrote a lot of songs. So I have a lot of copyrights. I have right now I have about 43 of them. Wow. So I'm not. When I was younger, I was doing law enforcement and music, and
that's so dope.
But one of the things that I always one of the things I always say is make sure you copyright, trademark, and before you really mass it out there. Now, I'm not one of those people that's going to tell you to do everything in silence. The reason why I don't want you to do everything in silence, but I do want you to take care of your paperwork, is because if you do it in silence, it gets no airplay. You get no airplay, you get no stuff. You got to be able, if you got it, I want you to flaunt it. Because if you got it, I'm taking something from Shannon Sharp. He said, if you got it, you want to flaunt it. If you got it, flaunt it. But you better be taking care of the paperwork, because do not think that people will not steal your stuff. Do not think that they won't take it, mash it up, repurpose it, and then you're going to say, man. And even with the big boys, even in musicians, whether you're Michael Jackson, Prince, or anybody else, they've all been sued and said somebody took this, somebody took that. You got to protect your neck, and that's the first thing first, paperwork.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
And the other thing, before we get out of here too, let me just give you one thing from Prince, and I want you to comment on our late brother Prince. what he said about protecting your neck and manipulation. Let me give you this.
Yes. There's paths that you can go down in life that are dead end, and one of them is being manipulated by another mind source other than your own, and being tied up in contracts and having ceilings over you, especially when you're an artist, is very confining. And
again, what Brother Prince was, what he was talking about is stop being manipulated by other sources other than you. Look, it's all right to be inspired. It's all right to be doing that. But if you're going to be true and authentic to yourself, you're going to have to go through the process. The process is important.
Yes, it is.
What do you say about that?
I definitely agree. Process is so important. Trust me, I needed this reminder for myself. Process is it really is important though. It's something that it's definitely a priority. If you are creative, you are producing any ideas, if people come to you and they're like, I want to pick your brain. If anybody has ever said that to you, you're a genius. You know, I really believe that everybody has different things that they're really great at. So I just feel like, listen, now's the time. Now is the time because everything is about to go digital, everything. So you are definitely right. Protect yourself. Yes.
And when you say the word digital, I want people to understand digital is synonymous with the word stored. Anything that is digital is stored. So if you can protect yourself, you're going to be all right. Man, this has been a fantastic. This has been one of our fantastic ones. I am so glad that Sister Vanity Constance came over here and on the Heart Talk. Remember, 24 hours from now, you will see it on the YouTube on Delaware Info Now. And Delaware Info Now, you can actually see all of our other back stuff. We are backed up, but we're going to have this one on for this week. So again, this is Jakim Muhammad with the Heart Talk with Jakim. I want you to be good to each other, and I want you to rock your purpose. Peace and blessings, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.